Hello everyone and welcome back to Let's Play Hearts of Iron 4 Last Days of Europe with me, Avalanche and Greater Germanic Reich. So in the last episode we have gained access. Yeah, I'm not talking about the political situation. No, not even touching it. Last time we have gotten access to the new type of destroyer, and today we are going to play with it because I don't want to see what's gonna happen next. God damn it. Well, we got the Advanced Destroyer Hull, which I believe is the technology that I have been referencing, just to make sure. Yep, Advanced Destroyer Hull. What am I doing here? So, Advanced Destroyer Hull, I believe has another module available. I think that this is the last one. Yep, that's the last one that we got, which, okay, had two naval guns, torpedoes, and twin AA gun. So I think we can fully rocketize our new destroyer, because we can get anti-ship missiles here. Yep, the new ones. So let's put those. Actually, no, let's put them in the front and in the back. It's anti-air. Back, no, that's anti-sub. Anti-ship. Whoa, here. I'm blind. Okay, we're gonna give you two anti-air. Or actually, you have anti-air here, so we can add these ones. Yep. We can upgrade all of your modules here. We're gonna give you a torpedo launcher here, and the last one I think we can actually put the depth charge 4 here on, because we're gonna be still fine. So when we look at the Zerstörer 1965, it had surface detection of 27, we got 32. It had sub detection 3, we got 7. It had white attack of 5.1, we got 2.4, and white piercing of 2.5, we had white piercing of 2, so the white attack is actually reduced, but we have heavy attack of 24 and heavy piercing of 22, which this ship didn't have. We have torpedo attacks of 54.8 compared to 54, depth charges of 21 compared to 1, anti-air of 9.8 compared to 5.4, max speed is 42.6 compared to 40.5, range is 8,500 kilometers compared to 8,000 kilometers, HP is 50 compared to 60, okay, so it's a bit more fragile, that's the turret's missing. Reliability is slightly higher. No, wait, HP is 60 compared to 50. Ah, okay, so we have more than we had. I was reading it backwards. Reliability is 3% higher, and fuel usage is the same. Cool. So we're gonna call you... oh, I forgot to copy the name. Okay, what was it again? So this is Zerstörer 1971. So upgrade everything, give you the anti-air missile, give you anti-ship, anti-air, and no, that wasn't the anti-air, that was torpedoes. Where are they? Torpedoes and depth charges. Okay, cool. So let's save you. We're gonna obsolete all of the older ones because we don't need them anymore. And we are going to put you up for production, though we're still building stuff here. What are we building? Friedrich TTT. And this is what? This is TT Friedrich. Okay, so we're gonna build only one Friedrich here. And once that one is done, we are going to put you up for production. Unlimited one, that is. And we can get the decisions available. Weapon shipments. Okay, I'm not shipping weapons to Iran. So that's done. This is also done. We have 979 sacrifices. The suspicion is ramping up though. I don't know what's going on. I haven't done anything really recently, so I don't know why it would be ramping up like this. Come on, give me some focuses. I want to choose to retain Speer. He meant well. I like the old man. I mean, everything was going so well until this crisis. This is one thing that I find kind of weird, the way it was handled by the citizens of the Reich. I mean, seriously, like, you've seen all this blossom, and then there's one kind of stock crash, and people riot in the streets. I get it if, you know, this was taking a year or two, but the way the game portrayed it, it seems like people had, you know, such a short fuse you couldn't even see it. They just blew immediately, which seems so weird. But hey, you know, I mean, what do I know? I mean, the oil crisis did really shake the world, but it wasn't something that would take down entire nations, or at least not this fast. I mean, who loses their job in the morning and riots in the afternoon, which is what some of the early events said. Like, people were told in the morning that they should quit or that they're fired, and they just went to the streets immediately. That's so weird. So weird. Same as with this. I don't like that this is now at zeros. I don't know what I should make of that. But the economy is just trucking along, so... And we don't know anything about Gallon and Vessel as well. Okay, the opening page. Did we have a single positive event in the past few months? I don't think so. I'm sorry, I didn't... Wait, I'm sorry, I don't follow you. Helmut Schmidt leaned against the booth wall, not fully understanding what he was hearing. You're saying there's a rebellion on? I'm not saying there's a rebellion. There is a rebellion. They're all over the place. The diplomat's voice crackled over the radio, the rattle of rifle fire occasionally making its way into the receiver. The fire was rapid, fast, and seemingly close. Helmut shifted as a mental picture began to form in his head. So it's another slave rebellion. Well, shit. Do what we did with the last one, he muttered onto the phone, a hint of confusion mixing into his normal stately tone. No, Helmut, you don't understand. This isn't some slave revolt. The whole fucking city is up in arms. They've got Reichsbanner flags. They're chanting. Reichsbanner! A shot of excitement fired up Schmidt's spine, quickly followed by fear. This was simultaneously very good and very bad. Shit, are you sure? We can't put this down. They've got guns, they've got ammo, I think they've stolen a few tanks. Oh shit! The screeching of a metal faintly pulsed through the receiver, quickly accompanied by the roaring of an angry crowd. Fuck, okay, I gotta go. We're evacuating. Warsaw is lost. Repeat, Warsaw is lost. The line went dead with a slam. Helmut stood in disbelief, still glued to the phone. Finally, after a moment of silence, he dropped the receiver and rushed to the train station. This was going to be big. So Helmut Schmidt was listening to some diplomat. A new chapter in history begins. Does it? No. Well, Warsaw is now a demilitarized zone. So the units have to leave. Oh, by the way, that reminds me, I noticed that all of our units, the ones that we sent here, I forgot to actually put them where they belong. So you guys are here, and I want you over there, and you guys over here. And who's left? You and you. Why am I send the 45th? hardly makes any reason. No, let's send you to the... Well, again, border with Italy, you know. Okay, let's send you over here.
Achtung!
And you guys will be patrolling the border with Ordenstadt.
Achtung!
And we still got some guys here, but let's see. Okay.
Befehle!
Ah, okay, so these are the...
Achtung! Befehle!
Okay, so this unit...
Bereit!
This unit wasn't supposed to be there. You were supposed to be... probably... over here, yeah.
Befehle!
And...
Achtung!
these guys are patrolling the border with Ordenstadt.
Angetreten!
The revolt expands. Speer had never seen the council assemble so quickly before. Speidel, Schmidt, Kaisinger, Erhard, Traskow. He couldn't tell that each of them had rushed. He could tell that each of them had rushed here on short notice. Their reactions were similarly varied. Speidel's calm exterior was betrayed by his deeply furrowed brow. Erhard and Traskow both seemed worried. Kaisinger showed only mild interest, and Schmidt seemed to be almost excited at the thought. Speer regarded him with an extra stare before beginning. So give me a rundown. Actually, one thing that I think would happen is that the wheel had turned, had triggered the Reichstag events. The one where Schmidt had left Speer. I think that was the result of the wheels have turned. And because we rushed it through our economy... Ah, okay. So the Reichen crisis is gone now. But I think because we rushed that one, we got that event earlier. Though I'm kind of surprised that it hadn't removed Schmidt. It's a bit weird, but yeah. Well, my Führer, Speidel began, but quickly was cut off by Schmidt's quick talking. My Führer, the Poles of Warsaw have risen up, aided by the Reichsbanner. Apparently the Spartacus had made his presence known there, and are setting up for potential counterattack. The Polish government is in disarray. They're trying to set up a new government, but they're not having a good time of it. The rebels have gone about freeing the slaves, lifting the Nuremberg laws, repealing restrictions. Why are you so excited about this, Helmut? They're fucking it all up. I've done so damn much for them, and this is how they repay me? I don't know why I ever listened to any of you if all of you is give me problems, Speer shouted, slamming his fist into the table. Schmidt recoiled, as did the rest of the gang. This was new. The sudden silence was broken by the entrance of the secretary, delivering a new report to the Führer. He read it, reread it, and then threw it in the air with a resounding "Fuck!" Krakow has fallen, my Führer. Well, should we send in the army? I mean, what's going on? Well, okay, you cannot shoot everyone. Though you can shoot a lot of people. God, that's crude. Having here, hold speech. I don't think holding a speech is a good idea. Nor is getting an update here. Vast political promises. Oh, they won't give us anything. They're just a temporary boost, okay. So Poland is up in flames. But this is good. 995 sympathizers. The economy is still down in the dumps. Snowballing. The garrison has abandoned Kiev, my Führer. That's great. I'm looking forward to every new event. Look, my Führer, I understand this is frustrating, but we cannot allow our emotions to govern our response on this issue. You should tell that to Helmut then. That's all he has been doing for the entire time I've worked with him. Kaising aside, perhaps he should have expected this. Speer's response to the slave siege some time ago hadn't exactly been a reasoned one. In any case, my Führer, we can't truly have an effective response until we know how far this is going to spread. It'll do us no good to try and put out these fires while more are picking up. Why don't you look yourself, Kaisinger? Here we are, with our plans unraveling before us, with everything the conservatives said would happen coming true, and you're all standing around here preaching the merits of the Reichsbanner? Hell, Schmidt's been basically on their side since he got here, Speer snapped. I never said I was in support of the slaves, Schmidt responded. Speer turned to him with an incredulous look. Bullshit. You think I'm dumb, Helmut? I can see it in your face. You've been waiting for this for years. Schmidt opened his mouth to respond, but Kaisinger waved him off. In any case, my Führer, we must wait until the cards fall. This is certain to get worse before it gets better, Kaisinger stated. As if to prove his point, the secretary returned, bearing more bad news. Speer groaned as he read it. Before, at least, it was confined to Poland. Now this was going to be a total mess. The garrison has abandoned Kiev. Okay, this is the part of the game that I really do not like, when you have to follow the story and you're impotent to do anything, to it. Like, I cannot do anything at this point. I can just sit and wait for it to give me some kind of a chance to address the issues. But until it happens, I actually have no chance to do anything. Gaining steam. Yeah, I think we're gonna put you into here. So we'll disband you as a whole and assign you over here. And you're gonna drill only until you are done. No. The papers kept coming, and they came faster and faster with each passing hour. Reports of isolated uprising in factories, slave mobs arming themselves in the rebel holdouts, the occasional gun battles with police and soldiers, and the sole consolidation of the rebels into an organized army. Every report that came in angered Speer even more, and only hardened his resolve against the other four men in this room. What a fool he was to trust them. Every step of the way they had subverted his requests and gone against his orders. They had forced him over and over to agree with them and avoid collapse. Ever since he has brought them on, they had made his job harder than it ever had to be, and now, at the hour of Germany's greatest danger since World War II, here they were to subvert him again, poisoning his ideas and dragging Germany away from what made it such a power to start with. He shouldn't take any more of it, he decided. From here on in, he would call the shots, not some petty idealist or fat capitalist or some old military man. As the report of the next city to fall, Minsk, came in, he had made up his mind. Now was the time to really show who the true power in Germany was. Him, Albert Speer. But just getting started. Well, we have a choice. It starts with a bang. Oh, the past repeats. It starts with a bang. Even still, he was readjusting to his life. His new apartment, small and shoddy as it was made the best use out of him, and only him. Sometimes that woman who talked to him in the factory visited here and there, and they talked. They would talk about current things happening, and she was like a source of information. He learned things outside of his simple life, how the world was in turmoil, how Germany was making this sweeping change and passing this outstanding wall, how they were still treacherous bastards, and how things would never remain the same, and how the day by day things only grew tenser. Antonin knew it would happen. In fact, he was waiting for it. When he received a pair of knocks on his door, he closed the book in his hands that was about the great Slavic migration into Eastern Europe and unbolted the chain, letting it open slightly so that he could look outside. Yes? His old, unused voice asked, and he could see it. 2 men in uniforms and the signs of the Polish Home Army. Greetings, Antonin Grzywacz. We're here on behalf of the Free Europe Army. In his hand, he held a rifle that harkened back to old times. Will you fight, sir? The man's face was hard, but sympathetic. There will be no work for you tomorrow. Antonin knew that well. But I can understand if you wish to remain here. Slowly Antonin unbolted the door completely and let it open wide. Open wide. He was old, perhaps even frail, but Antonin shook his head. No, son, he began, holding his hand out. The soldier nodded and handed him the rifle. I can still fight. Ah, he looked down, then back up. Before we go, can I ask you a question? The soldier took no time to respond, even sounding a little enthusiastic. Of course. Do you know of a woman named Anna Slovikovska? The past repeats. He had felt tremors before, but not this bad. He hadn't the strength to open the constant flood of documents sent to his office, so his desk was filled with unread papers. He didn't have to read them, of course. He knew exactly what direction this revolt would go. They would push, and the Wehrmacht would push back, until finally the Aryan heel would stomp down and annihilate the petty resistance, as the revolt gave way to the New World Order. The thought soothed his mind a little, but he was still bitter with anger, and a certain someone kept trying to push him down another road. My Führer, Schmidt began, and Speer took no chances, slamming a fist against the desk and glaring at him with rageful, tired eyes. This nonsense again? He said, stirring himself into anger. Helmut Schmidt, know your place. I spent the past 2 decades trying to move past the web after web, and now you're constantly biting at my ankle, here and there. Who do you think I am, Schmidt? Some sort of peace-loving liberal scum? Perhaps you are, but I am far from such a thing. Schmidt ground his teeth together, feeling his breathing become heavier. I've advised you, time and time again, that clashing with the slaves would ruin our international image. To hell with our international image! You, Speer's eye narrowed towards Schmidt. You, lying in bed with the Reichsbanner, aren't you? Schmidt felt his stomach churn, and he stepped away. I should have seen this earlier. I should have realized a decade ago. You are more than just some pathetic liberal. I know who you are now, Schmidt. You are a rat. A rat! Speer kicked back his chair and stood up, almost frothing at the mouth. Get out of my office! Get out, you Judeo-Bolshevik bastard! Get out before I have you hanged as an enemy of the state! Schmidt felt sweat drip down his back as he began walking out, while Speer didn't relent. The moment I find evidence of the truth, you will have lost all use to me. Well, Speer is losing it, man. Not that I can blame him, but Jesus, he is losing it. Token political promises. Don't mind if I do. Where is it? State of the Reich? Yep. Can we do some in the Reichsnachrichtendienst again? Come on. Yep, by political enemies. We need this one to show. Oh, this is gonna be nasty. Yeah, debt is increasing yet again. Nowhere is safe. Time to start over. As reports continue to roll in of spontaneous rebellions, clear trends began to emerge from the haze. Speer reviewed them and placed them together, a master architect building his latest work. Not one of stone and steel, but of statistics. The cities that had revolted so far all fit the same few categories. Kiev, Warsaw, Minsk, Krakow. All were poor eastern cities. None had been successfully Germanized. Each still had significant amount of slaves, whether personal or company owned. Finally, the major kicker, each had abnormally high levels of Reichsbanner activity. Perhaps it was the relatively young demographics of each city, or perhaps it was the universities, but the pattern was clear. A plan formed in Speer's head. This was still controllable. With the right analysis and the right plan, he could stop this rebellion in its track. And then a revolt seized Riga, and the statistics crumbled away. Riga shared none of these styles with the other cities. Besides a high slave population, it held a significant German minority. It was rich, even after the chaos that had engulfed Ostland years ago. It had not even had a major Reichsbanner presence. Yet, here it was, another angry red mark of revolt splintering the Reich. Speer put the paper down on his desk to join the pile, sighed and tore the rest of his analysis off the corkboard. Perhaps there was no pattern to this. Perhaps there was no stopping it. Time to start over. We keep getting hit more and more. The Riga was also... yeah, it's part of the Baltic states. So far the revolts are only in the liberal parts of... well, liberal parts of the, colonies of Reich. Not really... or, puppet states, whatever you want to call it. So not really hitting us like us, but them. You're basically just caught there now. Well, we'll see what's gonna happen. Still no focuses though. How's the war going? Wow, this is so evenly matched. It's so cool. Tidal wave. There has been one saving grace to the slave revolt, its adherence to the cities. Each revolt was confined merely to the city. Painful, but containable. The Heer, mobilized to action by the Führer's personal order, set in siege around the city, a complicated standoff ensuing between the slaves and the soldiers. Neither side willing to fire first. As long as the revolt stayed inside the urban jungle, the Reich still stood. Of course, it didn't. Somehow, someway, the news spread to the slave plantations that still toiled in the countryside. One by one, the slaves found their spines, taking up arms against their masters and burning their fields to the ground. Mobs met each other and became armies, tearing through the countryside and burning any slave-owning home they found. Soon enough, the Wehrmacht found itself flanked, and humiliatingly was forced to retreat as the country's slaves jubilously met with the students and rebels of the cities. As the mood out east turned joyous, the mood in the Führer's office darkened. Speer slammed his fist into his table, barely suppressing an angry yell. This was all that red bastard gangs thought. They had played with fire, and now the whole Reich would burn. The end is nowhere in sight. Decreases GDP. Rubicant joins Anverband Freies Europa. Okay, so now we have Reichsbanner, Popular Front, Progressivism. Okay, so there will be war, because these guys are actually now forming a country that we could attack. Free Slave Militia. I don't want to be an overly optimistic man, but I have a feeling this is not going to be tough. So wait, global conflicts still going well. Yeah, this is going perfectly. Military investment. Wait, why am I looking at this? That's part of the Verein. And infrastructure investment. My GDP is still dropping, Jesus. Wish there was something I could do, I mean... But yeah, this is amazing. They just keep fighting, being completely even. Yeah, they captured a part of their territory, they captured part of their territory. They're really at it. And nothing is happening, which means Russia is in a stalemate from which we can benefit eventually, because they are going to exhaust each other in case any conflict with us is on the horizon. They are going to exhaust themselves. Ironically, the Commonwealth of Siberia, the utopian socialism, now seems to have a bigger army. Originally it was the Russian Empire, but now it's the utopians. Why not? Utter failure. Slaves rising from Moscovian. Utter failure. In this very room, so long ago, Oberwender has sworn to keep Speer in check. That was the thought that kept running through his head, as men around him yelled and shouted at one another, each much more eager to shoot down the proposals of his enemy than make any contribution of his own. The president, usually one of the most boisterous voices in the Reichstag, watched quietly as the Reich's farce of a government bickered over what to do. Speer had loosened the reins, and they had slipped from his hands. The slaves were revolting, just as dozens of party officials had expected. Speer, Kaisinger, Schmidt, they had given the Untermenschen the rope by which to hang the German nation. If they were to survive, if they were to continue, someone would have to do something. Someone yelled for silence, and there was a clamor as the dissenting voices of the Reichstag eventually simmered down into silence. When all eyes turned to him and no one spoke, Oberwender realized what they were all expecting the president to address. That they were all expecting the president to address the assembly. Faced with the result of Speer's recklessness and searching for a solution, the Reichstag was looking to Oberwender. All of Germany was looking to Oberwender. And slaves are rising throughout Moscovian. Despite its relative calm compared to other Reichskommissariats, it seems Moscovian hasn't been spared from the chaos of the slave revolt. While indentured servants in the former Russian lands are far less than across the rest of the Reich, they still make up a considerable number, and it seems that the general chaos gripping the entire German colonial empire has emboldened them. All across the Reichskommissariat, tens of thousands of slaves break their chains and assault the German garrison, overseeing their suffering, taking their weapons and establishing pockets of resistance in the Russian plains. They ask for freedom, and most of them are ready to fight to the death rather than kneel once more. If they are to die, this is the message relayed to Rouen. They will die as free men. Even though their numbers swell with every passing day, and local authorities struggle to protect the cities from the increasing wave of dissent, it seems that, unlike the Metropolitan Reich, reaction is mounting. Reports tell of German regular forces regrouping under the leadership of Field Marshal Schörner and preparing for a counteroffensive. The general has sworn to return order to Rusland, no matter the cost. He can't act on his own. Oh yes he can, and he will. If there's one man that's gonna act, it's gonna be Schörner. Not sure what Rana is going to do, but Schörner is not gonna let them do anything. Okay, well, and that's where we are going to end this. Thank you very much. I'm gonna see you in the next episode. Now I'm gonna have some coffee and head to gym. Boy, this is getting out of hand. They're gonna end up, if those slaves are not gonna destroy us, the debt is. I mean, the debt interest is negative, so actually the debt servicing, the larger our debt, this is not a problem anymore. The debt can go as high as we want it. As long as the debt interest remains negative, it will never overwhelm us. The fact of the matter is that the real GDP growth negative and having a year of deficit means that we are not getting this under control. So it can go, to 200, maybe 300%. But again, as long as the debt interest is going to be negative, we are fine. But that can change with one event and then we're gone. So whatever happens, just keep in mind that I called it and there's literally nothing I can do with that, which sucks.